The final bout of the quarterfinals pits Bodo of the Zombie Takeout Corporation versus Chance O'Brien, the only human fighter in the tournament. Hello and welcome to Zombie Takeout, the B-movie and cult movie show. I'm John.
And from the north side of Chicago, I'm Scotto.
And before we get to this week's movie, we've got some feedback from Bodo, of course, on Twitter. He said, Heatseeker, I got excited for a 3-minute, 47-second movie, then I realized that it's an AC/DC video. The movie starts with a Ricky the Dragon Steamboat fighting himself. The bad guy is the good guy from Quantum Leap. He did look a lot like Al. And the lady gets raped over and over.
I hadn't thought of that. He does look like Gal from Quantum Leap.
The ending, rush to credits. And he says 20 brains. I suspect he meant 2.0 brains. At least I hope so. And some news. This past week, Neil Breen announced that Twisted Pair will be released on DVD in mid-February.
Nice.
So it will be available in some form. I mean, okay, you've seen it. Would you recommend picking up the DVD?
You know what you're getting, though, right?
Well, yeah, it's a Neil Breen.
You know what a Neil Breen movie is, right?
Yeah. Because we have to review. So
we do have to review it.
And he doesn't generally make his stuff available digitally, so we'll have to see what the options are. And I noticed something over the weekend. I talked about Trek last week, and I realized something while watching Discovery over the weekend. I realized why people seem to think that new Trek, Abrams and the Abrams stuff and Discovery, is so much more action-y than the older Trek. Even like, maybe not Enterprise, but even anything before Enterprise. The new stuff is naturalistic, whereas everything up through Voyager was so presentational, it might have been on a proscenium.
Oh, I think Next Gen was sort of a hybrid. I mean, Deep Space Nine was definitely naturalistic.
Yeah, but it still felt Discovery and the Abrams stuff just feels much more frenetic and naturalistic. Not just in terms of the action, just in terms of the camera work. Even DS9 had a pretty steady camera.
Like the original series, honestly, they mixed it up, but they had to have some action in there, and put it in whenever they could afford it.
Well, that's the thing is we've talked about how much people forgetting how much action was in the original series.
Right.
When the action music from the original series, the fight music, is practically a running joke.
I mean, yeah, it's a great theme though. So I mean,
so there was quite a bit of action in the original series, but people seem to think that new Trek is so much more action oriented, and I think it's because it's shot a lot more frenetically and naturalistically.
Yeah.
Anyway, with that out of the way, on to this week's movie, continuing our first 2019 trilogy, the B-movies.
I'm just calling this a 2019 series, really, rather than a double trilogy.
Yeah, sextology. We're separating them by a couple of weeks, so I like the idea of a double trilogy. Just okay. And it is from 1995, Heatseeker, and of course that brings us to the impromptu plot summary, sponsored by Exposition. When you absolutely positively have to make sure everyone in the audience intimately understands the plot of your movie, just explain it in the first 10 minutes.
And also brought to you by the CNN Corporation. It sounds too much like CNN when said by bad actors.
Maybe that was intentional.
I don't know. One doesn't really have anything to do with the other, though.
Oh, no, maybe just
I thought that too for a second. I was like, wait a minute, it's a cyborg company.
Yeah, I don't know. You're trying to come up with some kind of reasoning.
No, there
is no
any reasoning in this movie. There isn't even a fucking ring in this movie. Oh, no. Okay? Think about this. This is a movie about fighting, mixed martial arts fighting, which was genius that they knew was going to be the sport of the future in 2019.
Okay, so yeah, true. And it was it big yet by 95? I don't remember.
UFC 1 took place in 93.
Okay.
Nobody watched it. Nobody knew what the fuck it was. It was on the fringes.
What year was Kickboxer? I forgot to look that up.
It was way early. This guy did the sequel to it, though.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, So you do a movie about mixed martial arts, and a tournament is the surrounding, setting. No ring to fight in. But anyway, so we begin with one of these fights.
The matches weren't really a big deal in the movie.
It's like, I mean, it's what the whole plot revolved around, though.
But
I mean,
the way they were shown, they just kind of happened.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it is where. I mean, it's literally where the resolving action took place.
True.
The climax of the movie.
They were so blasé about it. You forget that. Oh yeah,
anyway,
two guys are going to fight each other.
Right.
We'll get to that in the review proper.
Two guys are fighting a mixed martial arts fight against each other. One of them has cybernetic implants, but in 2019, it's okay to tweak yourself a bit. It's 2019 after all. There is, again, no ring that they're fighting in. They're just fighting on a stage somewhere or in some open space where I'm not sure where people get to watch from. But our hero wins this bout because he's the champion and he never loses. And he leaves this guy to go to the Xenon Corporation to jack himself up with all sorts of implants and pretty much make him almost more machine than man. But no, the rule is you can't
almost my title. Almost the title idea for me.
You cannot be more machine than man. You have to go just as close to 50% as you can, but you're not allowed to go over. So you would think, okay, he gets a rematch. They could just have it at this tournament, and whatevs. No.
Well, there's this. The head of the CNN Corporation has this idea to create this tournament to show off his creation.
Well, first he offers him $60 million. Yeah.
This is our hero, the guy who won the original.
Right, for the rematch and to participate in the tournament. For some reason, he turns that down, and I'm not sure why, honestly.
Possibly because he knew he'd be fighting a robot.
Yeah, but he's been fighting a robot anyway.
Well, no, he was turned robot after that big fight, after he got his ass kicked in the beginning.
That's true. So not only do we get one kidnapping, we get two. It was very confusing. First, they come in and kidnap his girlfriend / wife / trainer.
Oh, fiance, because he proposed to her during the match at the beginning.
Girlfriend, fiance, trainer.
She said she would marry whoever won the match.
They put a mind control chip on her to control her, or to put her down whenever they can. For some reason, they don't put one on him, which would have made more sense, wouldn't it have?
Less of a revenge plot, though. You need that revenge plot in there.
So they want him to do their bidding. They've got this mind control chip. We won't put it on him. We'll put it on his girl.
Well, if they put it on him and just made him compete, then the fiance would have to enact the revenge plot, and that would sell far few tickets.
I mean, they could have put it on both of them, obviously, because they had them both knocked out anyway.
Well, that's true, and she was the trainer.
And at first, I thought they had him knocked out in the first place because he did go down so easily. And so then he wakes, she's gone. He goes to the Philippines where the tournament is. And probably one of the most useless scenes in the movie. There were a lot of them. Yes, and that is saying something. But yeah, he gets knocked out, which for a fighter, he seems to get knocked out pretty damn easily, doesn't he?
Except in the ring.
Except in the ring.
Or whatever they're calling it.
Yes, that's right. There was no fucking ring. Why would you have a movie about fighting without a ring? Too expensive for the budget, huh? But anyway, yes, he gets stripped naked. He has to run through the town for some reason, and then he catches the boat to take him to the tournament.
On an island where, surprisingly, Christopher Lambert was nowhere to be seen.
He just did a stint on the blacklist, actually, as a bad guy.
It was basically Mortal Kombat, but without Christopher Lambert.
Yeah.
And the awesome costumes and special effects.
Right. They needed a lot.
Which is all you really need in Mortal Kombat.
And this, you needed a ring. That's going to be a sticking point with me. No fucking ring. But anyway, so the tournament goes, and he repeatedly breaks into Xenon's lair, or whatever you want to call their corporate headquarters. Doesn't do anything except pretty much talks.
Even though Tung, the head of Xenon, tased him when they stole the girlfriend. That's why he went down. I've just remembered he got tased.
Yeah.
Tased him. He breaks into the headquarters on the island and gets tased again. He didn't realize that was going to happen.
Yeah, why would the champion of the world not have any security at all, by the way? I mean, it's a little weird. But anyway, the bodyguard of Mike Tyson. So, yeah, he repeatedly breaks in, gets absolutely nothing done, and the tournament goes on. I guess you could say hilarity ensues. I mean, there's one other part of this friend that, of course, isn't really a friend, but hired by Xenon. It just, none of it made any sense. Honestly, hilarity ensues.
I lost your video. Well, there you are.
Oh.
Yeah, you're not broadcasting for some reason. You're stuck.
Oh, can you hear me?
I can hear you fine, but there's no video. And it is switching back and forth. So
honestly, it's my best side.
Well, we'll continue and see how this works out. If you don't, I just wanted to. I'll leave that in, obviously, in case there is no video, so you understand.
I'm the disembodied voice of Scotto. Let me see. I'll unplug and plug in again, and see what happens there. I'd seen the light flashing too, and
you're back. You're back.
I was kind of like, "What's that mean?"
And that means it was just your camera, not a issue where we lost anything. So
I'm not sure why we do that. I hope you all liked it.
And I think that's pretty much hilarity ensues. There's a tournament. He has to win the girlfriend back, or
no fucking ring.
Yeah.
The climax, of course. I guess we could spoil it. Or we could just get to that towards the end.
We'll get to it towards the end because it is the most anticlimactic climax ever.
It's just absurd at how
did Bodo put it?
What ups?
The ending rush to credits. That's an understatement. But we begin with this, kickboxing match, and I'm thinking, okay, we got a B-grade version of Kickboxer on our hands. How bad could that be? And then the opening credits basically show a Terminator being built.
Well, you know how I don't prepare before seeing the movie. I just like going into the movie as cold as possible.
Right.
Do you realize how disappointed I was that this was not a movie about missiles?
Wow. Okay, because I at least did see the trailer.
About somebody like stealing a missile or something like that. Or something, obtaining missiles and needing to be stopped.
Because there really wasn't much preparation you could have done. The plot summary was about 3 sentences. So, but yeah, at least I saw the trailer, which was very misleading because I knew Tim Thomerson was in this movie, and it had kind of a transfers look to the trailer.
Oh, I was excited when I saw that in the credits too. I was like, "Holy shit, we're gonna have a movie about missiles and Tim Thomerson, and this is gonna be fucking awesome."
He shows up heavily made up with a hell of a coke now. As the head of marketing for Xenon, he has like 2 lines in the beginning and 1 line toward the end, and that's it.
He pretty much came in for a day of filming.
Yeah. I didn't even realize it was him until the line at the end.
Like the beginning and the end.
Yeah.
Like that had to have been a day of filming and then, shuffle off in disappointment or whatever that was at the end.
And that whole opening title sequence just felt like this weird combination of Terminator and an 80s ad for workout equipment.
It felt like it went on forever.
That too. As did most of this film. Because right after the credits, we get this vacation scene. O'Brien is his name. He proposes to his girlfriend /manager right before winning the match. Like she's about to cut him, and he says, "Will you marry me?" And she says she'll marry whoever wins, and he goes in and kicks the guy's ass. And so they're on their honeymoon at that point. After wait, no, there's a press conference where Tung shows up with Zhao, his monster, and challenges him. He says no. They go on their honeymoon. The vacation honeymoon scene lasted way too damn long.
To be abruptly, of course, ended by the kidnapping.
Also, the scene in the meeting where the first time we see Thomerson, where he's explaining the plot, it just sounded like a hack setup for Mortal Kombat.
I know it's all evil plans are best when mumbled.
Yeah.
And with accents from all over the world.
Also, okay, the head bad guy is named Tung, Tunj.
Yeah.
His monster is Zhao, Xao.
Yeah.
Two very white guys with Asian names.
That's cultural appropriation.
Just didn't make sense, especially when the actor who played O'Brien, Keith Cook.
That's kind of Asian, isn't he?
Yeah. I think I don't remember his last name. I think Cook. He has 3 names. The last one does look Japanese. I think he is Eurasian.
Yeah.
Incidentally, he was also in Mortal Kombat the same year as Heatseeker.
Did you see the guy that played Tung?
Tung, the bad guy?
Yes.
Or the monster?
The bad guy.
Okay, who is he?
2 years before this, he's in Schindler's List.
Oh God, how does that happen?
But I know. Well, you know what it is?
We know how that happens. You got to eat.
Well, no. Anytime they needed a German guy, he was there.
Okay.
Like he's done voices for Wolfenstein. Okay. He's done like Chaplin, where he was like a German diplomat, and that. I mean,
so he's stock German guy number 1.
Yes, he's stock German guy number 1, and he has made a fucking fantastic living up to this year, even still working. He's been working for 40 years doing this.
Oh wow! Nice. You were talking about you were saying you didn't understand why they were, stripped him and attacked him and all that before getting to the island.
Yeah.
It took me a while to figure that out too. They were wearing him down so he wasn't in top shape when he competed. That's at least my explanation. Best I could figure out.
I mean, I guess it does make sense if they were idiots, because I mean, none of their plan made any sense.
No.
It's like, okay, why don't you just, do this while you kidnapped him kind of deal? Like, why do this in increments?
That's the only rationalization I could think of, because they drug him and have these kids strip up, take his clothes, and then they take a hammer to his hand or a club to his hand. It's the only logic I can think of is they were trying to soften him up before the tournament.
Which, I mean, acid in the gloves.
Yeah.
But he still wore gloves. And he was punching robots. I don't understand how that works. How you could punch a robot and
damage them and dent them.
Yeah.
Kicks and I don't know. I mean, it made less. The physics in this movie makes less sense than Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Which is saying something. And also, this was shot in like 11 days. So.
Oh, I just saw my notes for the honeymoon. This is about as good as Anakin and Padme.
Exactly. The dialogue in this thing is glacial.
So somewhere George Lucas is going, see, I wasn't so bad, huh?
And the only actors who seem like they give a shit are Tung and the fiance.
Yeah.
And they have no chemistry with anyone.
Right.
Even worse with each other in those few scenes.
I think they both work, still. They're both professional actors, which is the difference. Well, I think everybody else...
Individually, they were the only decent actors in the movie.
Yeah.
So that's...
Well,
I'm fine
Thomerson
with them still acting.
Was criminally underused.
Yes, well, I wasn't counting Thomerson when I said that, because I didn't realize he was in the movie yet.
Like,
when I
blink and you miss him. I mean, that orange hair doesn't even make him stand out all that much.
And also, Tung says he's the head of marketing for CNN, while Thomerson also said he was the head of marketing for CNN. So the script contradicted themselves. I think they needed an editor for that.
This guy needed somebody. He had no business
No.
writing and directing his own work.
And the tournament doesn't even start until halfway through the movie.
Right.
For what it is. Because, it is the main premise of the film, but it's kind of like, okay, there's a couple guys fighting over there, check it out if you like. We don't care.
But I mean, the guards for Xenon, a company that's making fighters, and they all sucked.
Yeah. Well, they're stormtroopers. They're supposed to.
But I mean, wouldn't the company that makes fighters make more of them?
But they're stormtroopers. When the hero has to go through a bunch of trash mobs to get to the big bad, you don't want the trash mobs. That's why they're called trash mobs. They suck.
And why would they just make pure robots instead of humanoids?
That's a good point. Maybe practice. They're the practice droids.
Well, the answer is budget, of course.
Oh, of course.
Same reason why there's no fucking ring.
And the fight commentary was surprisingly realistic.
Could you imagine a football movie that just takes place in a warehouse or something? They're not on an actual football field.
And I realized fight commentary in a fight or in a sporting event is fine. You put that in a movie, it's horribly boring.
Oh, yeah. Well, even sometimes in real life, fight commentary is terrible. It depends on who's doing it. In fact, football commentary is just at its worst now, I would think. Holy shit.
Well, in an actual game, you're there to watch the game, and the commentary is just whatever. In a movie, it's dialogue.
Yeah.
It has to count for something. Now,
they're very perceptive, this announcer. He could see like, oh, there's something going on with his girlfriend there.
Well, yeah, at the beginning, and yeah.
They seemed very blasé when someone pulled the gun.
Well, before we get to that.
Just kind of like, oh, looks like someone pulled the gun there.
I was convinced, since Joe, the fiance, was his trainer, I was convinced that she was sabotaging Zhao. Training him to play right into O'Brien's hands, since he knows exactly how he fights.
Wouldn't that have made the most sense, too?
Yeah.
What the fuck? Why wouldn't she have done that?
No, she doesn't. She's actually, training him legitimately.
Oh, hope she doesn't kill him.
And, of course, the guy that O'Brien befriends, Bradford, turns out to be working for Xenon as well.
Everybody is.
And I was wondering why they were focusing so much on O'Brien's trainer when she had like no lines. She was his handler. She was actually the one working for Xenon. Yeah. Bradford was being blackmailed. And then we get to the ending.
Was that like a triple cross then? I mean,
kind of, yeah.
It's like a Chevy Chase movie where he's trying to write and someone was telling him how terrible his script was. Like you have Flash sideways too. Like what the fuck is this?
Yeah. So O'Brien is supposed to make it look good, or not? Yeah, go down but make it look good, basically. Yeah. But he, gives his all, and is about to win when Tung walks out with a gun, shoots Zhao, shoots the cyborg fighter who was pretty damn good, and who he spent an insane amount of money on. Just kills him, and then tries to kill O'Brien. Somehow the girlfriend gets free. Oh, the remote control that was controlling the chip breaks.
Yeah,
she gets the gun from the henchwoman who was controlling Bradford.
And by the way, guys, spoiler alert! If you sat through this whole thing to get to this, this very exciting conclusion that we're spoiling.
It was, like I said, the most anticlimactic climax, because
it was like somebody just adjourned a meeting, kind of.
Yes.
And meeting adjourned. Movie's done.
On paper, it's pretty exciting.
It should have been. That should have been like a holy shit. I can't believe this. Like a nicely choreographed, fight. Mm-hmm. But my guess is he was running out of time filming for the day. And so it was just like, we got to finish this. Okay, done.
And not just the fight. The fight was fine. I really didn't have a problem with that fight compared to all the other fights in the movie.
Well, I'm talking about like the fight between the handler and
Okay, that
Tong.
one. Right. No,
That
yeah,
should
that
have
one.
been the main focus
Yeah, yeah.
here.
As soon as Tong walks out with the gun, we should have had the dramatic music and a
There should
slow,
have been people running in all directions. It should have been
some
fucking
some
chaos.
nice slow pacing and some raising the tension. It just all kind of happens at the same pace as the rest of the movie, and with no interesting music. And it's just like every fight scene. It just kind of there, kind of happens. You might be interested, maybe not.
Here's the great ending that we're spoiling. Everybody just shuffles off.
Yeah.
Like leaves just kind of like, okay, we're going. Like O'Brien and Joe just kind of walk off together, kind of looking back, kind of like, huh? Okay, I guess we're finished, kind of thing.
And there's no denouement. As
The
soon as they take out the
they cut
handler
they cut to the three marketing guys who just kind of get up and literally shuffle off in out of their direction.
Right.
And yes, there's no denouement. And I think someone must have told Pyun, I think that's his name, right?
Yeah.
That there needs to be a little bit something more to the ending of this. So he inserts a shot of O'Brien raising his hands in the air in victory for a second. Credits.
They could have maybe had them finish their honeymoon.
Right, something like that. They go on their honeymoon. They said, "I smell sequel."
Go on the
like
honeymoon
that.
and then show the elders, as they're called on IMDb, creating another monster.
Right. Have Tim Thomerson appear in their honeymoon.
Yeah.
To taunt them and like, hey, we got another one for you to fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like they put back together the Frankenstein of Zhao and the other guy. I mean, something.
As I have the last thing in my notes, I didn't even feel like I'd watched a movie. It left me with nothing.
So it was like someone made a movie out of the entire Phantom Menace pod race.
Wow.
Like that tournament was that was the whole movie, the pod race.
I would say not so much the pod race, because the pod race was kind of exciting.
No.
I would say someone made a movie entirely out of Anakin and Padway's dialogue and the younglings getting trained.
Well, the problem was with the pod race was you knew who was going to win.
Yes.
But it lasted like half an hour.
But it was shot well.
Oh yeah, of course it was shot well. It was beautiful, and there was so much detail to it.
And that's why I'm disagreeing with pod race for that example. That's why I'm going with the younglings being trained. It's just kind of happening in the background.
The first time I watched, I was like, I mean, come on, we all know who's gonna fucking win this. Why are we making this like who's gonna win it? I think it might be O'Brien and Zhao going up in the finals.
That was kind of an issue with the entire prequels, but anyway, I'm not even going to bother with sequels and remakes.
Does Tong do anything other than watch security cameras, by the way?
No. And he had that microphone in front of him for some reason.
And I guess rape.
Well, yes.
Loves the rape.
I'm not even going to bother with sequels and remakes. Underbrains.
Yeah, Underbrains.
I'll give it a 2. I was looking at my previous ratings and it's around a 2. It's it's not quite as bad as last week, but it's close.
I can't give this anything.
You're going 0, okay.
I mean, I normally give something if you keep the camera in focus, and I felt he couldn't even do that. You know what? I was shocked when I did the research on this today to find that this wasn't this guy's first movie. That he'd been making. This is like he's made like a few dozen before this.
Oh wow!
You would think this was some film student's film, just by one not having a fucking ring in a fighting movie, which is a pretty big thing. Like, I mean, even if you can't afford the ring, make some sort of perimeter, around to, delineate this is the squared circle, this is the space that we're going to do battle in. But just to have an empty warehouse is just like the laziest filmmaking that you can possibly have. And that's what sums this movie up entirely.
Yes, it does. So what have we learned?
2 kidnappings. One is sufficient enough for a movie.
And I learned that even a science fiction martial arts movie can be glacially slow and boring.
Next time, just make the movie about the missile. How could you go wrong with that?
And mercifully, that's it for Heatseeker.
Yes.
Until next time, when we'll be closing out the first half of this series with Mock-Up on Mu, which is coincidentally a student film. But I assure you it will be much better than this.
How could it not be?
Until then, of course, always remember, never forget, wherever you go in life, there
you are.